Hey guys, I'm Chris Ryan. I'm a product manager with Dometic, and I'm here with RackUp+Go in beautiful Fargo, North Dakota. Today we're going to be discussing the details on the Dometic RTX 1000 and 2000 12-volt rooftop air conditioner. We're going to be going over the bench testing procedures, we're going to go into the efficiency, and we're going to start talking about some of the complementary products we have from GoPower. Let's get started. When you order your RTX from RackUp+Go, you should be ordering three components: the RTX head unit itself, the installation kit, and the power cable kit. What I have laid out here in front of me are the contents of the installation kit. These are the universal installation mounting bars. You'll have two of these. There's the installation hardware. These have the brass fasteners that'll thread into the bottom of the RTX, as well as the M8 bolts that'll attach the universal installation bars. There's a separate mounting hardware bag to be used with the gray fascia piece you see here. Using the gray fascia piece is optional. If you have custom woodwork in your van and you want to trim around it to match, that is perfectly fine. This will just be set aside and not used. There's also a blue back gasket that's a little bit thinner. This is useful for filling in the gaps between the valleys on a ridged roof. And then we have the 24-volt power harness. This power harness is not going to be used with the RTX 12-volt installation. Feel free to set it aside, or you can scrap the wiring and use it for some other project. One of the other kits you're going to receive with your RTX from RackUp+Go is the power cable kit. This is going to include an 8-meter 4-gauge cable, which has accompanied with it an 18-gauge voltage sensing cable. The voltage sensing cable does need to be connected in order to enable the automatic shutdown feature of the RTX, which we'll show you how to program later. Additionally, there's a taller gasket. This is going to have a red backing to it. There's also the electrical hardware. This has our fuse holder with 80 amp fuse installed. You're going to have your 4-gauge terminal connectors. You're going to have your 18-gauge terminal connectors, a butt splice connector for the voltage sensing line, and a 2 amp fuse for the voltage sensing line. Additionally, there is some cable protectors in here if you need it. And down below, we've got our GoPower Sun Cycle lithium battery. This is a 100 amp hour battery. We're going to be using this next in our bench testing procedures. If you're installing this unit and sizing your system, Dometic does recommend a minimum of 180 amp hour battery power. All right, once you've received your unit from RackUp+Go, one of the first things you're going to want to do is to bench test it. It's really important just to make sure everything's operational on the unit before you start cutting holes in the roof. We've got our RTX 2000 here connected to our GoPower Sun Cycle lithium battery. Got our 80 amp fuse in line, we've got our voltage sensing line and fuse connected, and then we've made our connection down here through the Anderson connector and the other connector. So the next step is to get underneath the unit, and we're going to turn that power on, make sure the fans are cycling, make sure we're getting air flowing through, and you will also hear and should hear the compressor kick on after a few moments. All right, with all of our power connected, we're going to go ahead and hit the power switch. The blue light will come on, the display will come on, it'll automatically be set to auto. And in a minute here, we should hear the computer turn on. We'll hear some spinning of fans. We should get some good airflow out of this. And after about 60 seconds, you should hear the compressor start, and then the evaporator fans on the top should also begin spinning. All right, we've got our RTX powered up now. The exterior evaporator fans are running. They're blowing quite a bit of air. You may have a bit of noise on the video. We are in a closed studio that's mic'd up really well. All of these fans, these are above the roof surface, so you're not going to be hearing probably what you're hearing on the video. We're already kicking out heat off the evaporators. The air underneath is blowing ice cold. So this bench test is complete. All right, now that we got our bench test complete, you can move over to the van and feel confident cutting that hole in the roof and getting this unit installed. Next, we're going to talk about how you can program the unit for a low voltage cutoff. What that is when the voltage sensing line senses that the batteries have reached a specific specified voltage on the RTX that you can program, the unit will automatically shut down. This is important if you're an over-the-road trucker and going off the starting bank of your truck. The last thing you want to do is wake up in the morning to find out that your RTX has overdrawn your batteries and you can't start your truck. So this voltage cutoff is extremely important if those batteries are also used for starting the truck. In order to set the voltage cutoff on your unit, you're going to press and hold the list button and then press and hold the power button for 3 seconds. You know you've entered into the configuration mode when you see P01. You're going to hit the list button again, and you can see we currently have this set at 11.4 volts. If you're running off a lithium battery bank, 11.4 is a perfectly fine setting to leave this at. If you are running off an AGM bank, I'd recommend adjusting this up to 11.7. It is up to you if you're more comfortable running the batteries down. Perhaps you have a lot of solar coming in or a DC to DC charger from shore power. You can set this setting to whatever you're comfortable at. Now, if you're running it off the starting bank of batteries, say in a class 7 or 8 over-the-road sleeper truck, I would highly recommend setting this to a voltage of 12 volts. That way you can ensure the unit's never going to draw your batteries down to the point where you're not going to be able to start the truck in the morning. And you can adjust the voltage with these up and down arrows here. You can see up, we're going up to 11.6, and back down to 11.3. And that, when you're ready to set that voltage, press the menu button again, and then to exit, press and hold the power button for 3 seconds. And now your voltage is set. All right guys, I want to take a few moments to talk about the 4 operating modes of the RTX. There's an auto mode, an eco mode, a manual mode, and a boost mode. In auto mode, the compressor and the fan speed is controlled automatically. In eco mode, the compressor speed is limited to save on power. And in boost mode, the unit will run for 20 minutes at maximum output to bring down the temperature of whatever you're installing this into. And on manual mode, that gives you manual control over the fan speed. The compressor is still going to be controlled automatically. In terms of energy usage of this unit, when you're sizing your system, I'd recommend banking on 50 amps per hour. So on a 100 amp hour battery, you're going to get about 2 hours of runtime. Now, if you're using it exclusively in eco mode, that's going to pull a maximum of 19 amps, stretching that 100 amp hour battery out to 5 hours of runtime. Now don't forget, we do recommend a minimum of 180 amp hour size battery capacity in your system. So with a 200 amp hour system, you can bank on about 10 hours of runtime when you're running on eco. Some of the considerations you're going to want to take into account when you're sizing your system are where this unit is going to be operated. Ambient temperature, humidity, the insulation you have in your van, the solar heat gain of the van, these are all going to play a factor into how much energy the RTX is going to use. One thing you can do to offset that energy usage and put some charge back into your batteries is using solar. GoPower has a myriad of panels that you can choose from panels that are rigid and fixed like this, panels that you can stick onto your roof and seal around it with an adhesive, and even portable panels that can fold out and you can place on the ground and fold back up and are super portable, you can take anywhere. When considering solar, with a 100 watt panel, you can plan on about 8 amps being replenished into the battery bank. Now this is in ideal conditions, and I would suggest when sizing your system to plan around 6 amps to factor in for cloudy conditions, variable light, and the angle of the panels. All right guys, that wraps up our technical discussion on the RTX. Thanks for shopping at RackUp+Go. If you have any additional questions, please reach out to the team. And remember, life's an adventure. RackUp+Go.